Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Critical Conversations podcast. Today, I'd like to talk about the endless scandals that seem to plague our defense procurement projects. Defense Minister Hishamuddin Hussein recently announced that the government will proceed with the troubled Littoral Combat Ship, or LCS, procurement project. Going by media reports, he offered three reasons for the government's decision. First, the Navy needs the vessels. Second, the vendors and companies involved needed to be compensated. And third, failure to resolve the issue would negatively impact the financial standing of the Armed Forces Fund Board, or LTAT, and its contributors who are retired Armed Forces personnel. Bowsted Naval Shipyard, you must remember, which was awarded the LCS contract, is a subsidiary of Bowsted Holdings, which is in turn 59.4% owned by LTAT. The project for the construction of the 6 ships, originally valued at 9.128 billion, was signed in 2014, with the first vessels to be delivered in 2019. It was the largest single defense procurement project in Malaysia's history at that time. Everything, it seems, quickly went wrong after that. According to reports, although the government paid out some $6 billion, not a single vessel has been built. What's worse, close to 1 billion cannot even be accounted for. Both the Public Accounts Committee as well as the Auditor General found that the project was riddled with questionable payments and mismanagement. Several individuals involved in the project was subsequently arrested by the MACC, and investigations are continuing. It isn't the first time, of course, that a defense procurement project has gone awry. In fact, it has been happening with sickening regularity. Over the years, billions have been spent on aircraft that had to be grounded, helicopters that were not delivered, submarines that had problems diving, and ghost patrol vessels and ships of dubious quality. Is anyone surprised that we are now caught up in yet another huge defense procurement scandal? You know, it's all well and good for the defense minister to now talk about the needs of the Navy or the interests of the vendors and retired armed forces personnel. But what about the interests of the taxpayers? Don't they matter? Don't they deserve at least an explanation about what happened to the 6 billion that has already been spent? Was the money stolen or misappropriated? Who is responsible for this colossal loss of public funds? Whatever it is simply criminal to proceed with the project without a thorough, transparent, and independent investigation into what went wrong and who is responsible for the fiasco. Perhaps the greatest scandal is that despite all the defense procurement fiascos that have taken place in our nation going back decades, not a single politician, senior general, senior civil servant, or CEO has ever been taken to task, leave alone jailed for malfeasance, corruption, or plain dereliction of duty. Each time a project, there's a pattern. Each time a project is in danger of failing, or each time a big government-linked entity runs into financial difficulties, the government rushes in to bail them out with public funds on the grounds that Bumiputras will suffer loss. Didn't they think of the Bumiputras when they were dishing out contracts to their cronies, to their incompetent, dishonest cronies? Didn't the people who were responsible for managing the projects not think of their fellow Bumiputras when they were colluding and conspiring among themselves to misappropriate funds? Why should the taxpayers now have to pay for their greed dishonesty, and incompetence. It's not just unfair to the millions of other taxpayers, but without accountability and transparency, every project and every Bumiputra enterprise becomes an opportunity for select Bumiputra politicians and their cronies to steal and misappropriate public funds. If this is what the Bumiputra agenda has become, then it is an iron yoke upon the people of Malaysia, Bumiputra and non-Bumiputra. It is nothing more than an officially sanctioned criminal scheme to loot and launder public funds. I'm Dennis Ignatius, and this is the Critical Conversations podcast.